we are back on Ekman Soch ki ttalk train of thought with a series of an episode with Professor Vijay Kant Verma Chancellor of Dr.CV Raman University, Patna, Bihar, and also he is heading core research and the innovation group of an ISEX group of an universities, which are 5 universities which are there in India. And it's an interesting episodes and the insights what we are getting from Professor Vijay Kant Verma. So welcome to this episode.
Thank you.
So now there is a change in gear from corporate to an academic. How you identify the gap एक बूंद सोच की education में जो आपको यहाँ पे खींच लाई?
I think biggest gap in education, in my mind, there are of course NEP is there which has identified many gaps. But I think the biggest gap in education, higher education especially, is that the whole system is examination oriented, not the curriculum oriented.
Nice.
And there is a misconception that curriculum is syllabus, and at times the syllabus is reduced to 20 questions. And that's how the education reduces to 20 questions for those students. This, I think, needs a total system change. Most of the universities, they spend their maximum time in either in admission or in examination. So my view is that the education system should switch from the examination orientation to curriculum orientation is one. Then second is that such a big system, you have about 1,100 university in the country. There are 50,000 colleges. There are almost about 12 lakhs teachers in colleges and about 5 lakhs teachers in universities. 15 lakhs cadre. And you have no system of training the teachers who are, you see, 15 lakh people every year pass out as an engineer.
Correct.
They are passing through a system where there is no system of training various officials. You see, there is no system of training a head of the department. A dean is not, he doesn't have a training system.
Correct.
Even teachers don't have a training system.
Yeah, correct.
So how can you have a cadre of 15 lakhs people
Correct.
without any training for correct training system?
Correct.
So this is a very big gap. Actually, when TSR Subramaniam committee was formed in around, I think, 2014 or something like that, and they submitted report on in 2016. They had put this gap, and he has suggested, but that report was shelved for various reasons. And in that he had suggested a separate cadre for teachers, like for IPS, IAS and engineering services and medical services like that, railway services. So he has strongly said that how can you have a university with 700 colleges affiliated? What kind of a span of control
system which is there in
you have? So we had suggested from ISEC to Subramanian committee that there should be cadre.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a limitation of maximum 50 colleges under one university.
Under one university, yeah, correct. Rather than mushroom.
Which was accepted by them, and they had put in their recommendation, but it was shelved. Of course, the Kasturi Rangan committee has accepted the second recommendation, and they have limited it to 100 colleges, not 50 as we suggested. But these are the gaps. And one gap which is there is, apart from the teachers training, is what I give a phrase of n is equal to 1 is my view of looking at education, and n not equal to 60 or 120. You see, each individual is different, each student is different.
Correct.
You can't have a class of 60 assigned for having same treatment.
Correct.
You have a class of 120 in IITs. There are some classes 120.
Correct. Most of the base courses are 120, 60, 80 and all that.
So how can you have? So for me as a academician, n is equal to 1.
Okay.
So with that gap, actually,
you entered
we entered.
Okay, and what is the current status of education like? Are you happy with the overall system, or still it needs to be churned out or changed?
No, I think it needs a drastic change.
Needs a drastic change.
Actually, when there was a surgical strike on Pakistan, I had written an article in my own journal. That time, of course, was much before this Kasturi Rangan committee. I had written an article saying, the title was, "Should there be a surgical strike on education sector?"
Okay.
So I strongly felt that the education system needs a really
drastic change.
And to some extent, I think Kasturi Rangan Committee New Education Policy 20 is could be a game changer.
Correct.
But the only thing is that it has given a very large time frame, and it has not addressed to the problem of teachers training. We are in a phase where the technology is a driving seat of entire nation, of entire globe.
Correct.
Technology is changing every day. So the old classical concept of education will have to change.
It has to revamp.
It has been seen by this new education policy, but they have given a longer time frame. They are expecting that higher education should have time frame up to 2030, 35. They have given the time frame, which I think is, as it is, education is lagging behind the industry. When industry is industry 5.0, it is going to 5.0, and we are still, education is still at 3.0. So we are struggling to go to 4.0. So there is so much of gap between the user and the provider.
And the providers.
Actually, provider should be on the driving seat, telling the user that you change. I'm sending a person who will bring the change.
Correct.
So we have to reach that stage where the education has to take the driving seat.
I think no doubt. I think Professor Vijay Kant Verma, Chancellor of Dr.CV Raman University, and also a co-researcher and the of innovation group of NISAC group of a university, have identified the gap and have found really there is certain issues which needs to be addressed, and the gap which was identified are the more relevant and apt. And with the change in technology, I am sure the challenges will be multifold. Now, as chancellor for Rabindranath Tagore University, what kind of a shift he had brought, what kind of a best practices which he had brought. Keep on watching Professor Vijay Kant Verma on next episode, www.ttalk.net. Subscribe and like the channel, and I'm sure stay tuned to ttalk with Professor Vijay Kant Verma on next Ek Boond Soch ki ttalk. So thank you very much for being part of
Thank
this
you. Thank you.